Okay, welcome back to another tier list video. Because you guys loved the last one, which was very surprising. This time, it's about Uncharted.
Oh boy, I can't wait
Yeah.
for this.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be hanging off the cliff, aren't we?
Huh?
I hope to God not, especially with all of our, very different opinions on all of these games. Which,
Yeah.
thankfully, unlike the Sonic one, this one is a lot shorter. So
Yeah.
we'll,
Huh.
we should be done with this pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they used the European box art for Uncharted 1, but whatever,
It's better. Hey, it's a better box art.
I don't know about that one.
No, it ain't. It really ain't. Anyway, so we have all 6 Uncharted games. We're going off in release order, not timeline order, because then we'd have to do Golden Abyss first, and I don't want to do Golden Abyss first. So I'd say we get this started off with Uncharted 1, all right?
Mhm.
Now, you both have very different opinions on this game.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Where
boy,
does
do
this
I.
go for you guys?
Uh, I'm gonna
Uh,
put Uncharted 1 at good because I feel like I could put it great, but it just has it's held back, and it's the first game in the series. So it's like I don't know if it didn't have the jet ski sections, it would be all right. But I don't know. I feel like it's just good.
Yeah, I'm myself though. I'm gonna put it at pretty much the okay or slash bad because I do not like this game. I don't. I understand it's the first game, and that's understandable. But at the same time, good God, its level design is just bad. Enemy placements, even like just the game itself, I don't like it. I never want to play this game ever again. It was awful. Okay, not awful. Okay, awful's a strong word, but it was just not enjoyable. And I also had a soft lock, so that also kind of annoyed the hell out of me.
Whereas
We're
I think that Uncharted 1 is a good game. I think for being the first of the franchise, it shows exactly like what the franchise is about, like
Mhm.
for a starting point. Like I feel the level design was actually pretty damn good. It actually gave me like the scariest thing that I've ever seen in a video game in The Descendants. I think that entire area, that entire section or those like few chapters where you're just in an underground bunker is like some of the best horror segments in a video game in a non-horror video game, right? But even with stuff like the temples, right? Like the temple at the very beginning of the game, throughout the biggest like the first segment of the game, I thought was really fun. I will admit, yes, the enemy layouts did piss me off back when I first played Uncharted 1, but I think now, because I played it, I don't mind it too much because I know what to expect. But if you're a first time player, it does get annoying and you will get a lot of unfair deaths because like there's like at least like 3 or 4 waves and like every shootout, and it's like it
Mhm.
just gets tedious. But at the same time, I kind of like it at the same time because like it kind of forced me to not just stay behind a just one area and just shoot at every single enemy, which is what a few games in this franchise does, which we'll get to. Yeah, Uncharted 1, I think it's good. First of its kind, and we wouldn't have the rest of the series without it, so you gotta give it some credit. I do think it has a lot of, like, splotchy areas, though. Like, that final boss, I mean, I personally don't like the final boss. I like the duck and cover shooting aspects of it, but then it just turns to a freaking QuickTime events, and I'm just saying QuickTime events freaking suck, dude.
See, that's weird because like I personally think, and this is probably the most controversial take I have. I think it's the most enjoyable out of all 4 of the Uncharted games that I've played. Because like Uncharted 2 is Uncharted 2's final boss. Three's is threes, and 4
That's crazy.
is really good. But I think I prefer 1's overall. I don't
No,
mind the quick time events.
I hate the first final boss because it's just boring as shit. You just wait in cover for a few seconds, run to the next one. Wait in cover for a few seconds, run to the next one, and then do QT. It's boring as all hell.
Well, I mean, we
He
can't
doesn't-
really say that because, like, that's basically just all of Uncharted's gameplay, though.
But like no, but that's like you don't even do like any shootout. You don't do anything. Just wait in cover for a few seconds and then move. It's like
Well,
I
no,
don't
you
know.
do
That's just
shoot out. You have, like, a few enemies that are, like,
oh
you
yeah,
have to, like,
before that.
kill.
But I mean, as soon as you're just 1v1, you're at the final boss.
Yeah, the
I don't,
quick
I don't
time
count. Yeah, I don't count the pre stuff. As soon
I
as you
count
like
that as
one
a
v,
final boss, so.
I
Personally.
don't actually. I count as soon as it's like a 1v1 because that's how it goes for only Uncharted. It's always a 1v1 with the villain.
Mhm.
And what's his fucking name? I forgot his name. Honest to God, what was his name again?
Navarro.
Navarro. The only goddamn villain I remember in the first game was Gabriel, and it's because he has the same name as me. If he didn't have the same name as me, I have also forgot him. But Navarro, just even then as a villain, was boring as hell. That part where just the whole run and QT. That's it.
Anyway, so yeah, Uncharted 1, very divisive in the fan base. I like it. Gabe doesn't. Titus has a very interesting take on the final boss. Because I swear, Titus, you're like, I know I already said this, but you're like the only person that I know that actually likes that final boss. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I don't know.
yeah.
It's weird.
Cool though. I mean, different perspective and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where we get to the peak. It's the peak of third-person shooting games. Uncharted 2, for me, is a masterpiece.
Not surprising.
Uncharted 2, for me, has the best story, the best soundtrack, the best level design, the best MacGuffin, and I do prefer the Descendants from the Guardians for scare factor, but in terms of like aesthetic and like just showman stuff, I guess the Guardians are just so damn cool. Like, just trying to find the Henry Flynn, Lazarevich or Lazarevich, whatever you want to call him. Sully and Nate's dynamic is the best it's ever been in this game. The set pieces like the fallen down train, or the winter tundras, or the jungle, or that collapsing temple at the very end of the game that was definitely based off of a few Indiana Jones movies. It has to have been.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And also the train sequence. Dude, like Uncharted 2 has the train sequence. And not only that, it has the on-rail car chase through the snowy tundras. Uncharted 2 is just that freaking good. And also, besides Uncharted 4, I feel the game's story actually ties into Nate's character the best, more than 4, because it kind of deals with the whole action hero kind of conflicts where it's like he wants to save everybody, especially with his conflict with Chloe and Melina and all that. And of course, he can't save everybody. Some people just don't want to be rescued. And where does he get? He gets a freaking bullet in his stomach. So yeah. There's that. But yeah, Uncharted 2, I love it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's on my top 10 favorite games ever list, and I love it. Uncharted 2 is a freaking masterpiece. Best final boss in the series, by the way.
Oh yeah, agree with a lot of things too. It's also, to me, a masterpiece. It genuinely bloody is. It's maybe like a 9.5 game. Like, it is bloody great. Like, it from like the difference from 1 to 2 was night and goddamn day. From a pretty mediocre game to a goddamn, like, how? They took everything I hated from the first game, threw that shit away, and just improved upon the great shit. And there's Uncharted 2. Like, it definitely has I think my second favorite story, but like it has like some of the best set pieces. Easily, as I said, what Steven said there, the best boss fight by far. Because hey, here's a boss fight that you're using the actual mechanics you use throughout the whole game. Like how boss fights should be. It's like, yeah, it's just really bloody fun.
Oh, one thing to mention that I forgot to mention, right? I think you can agree with me on this too, right, Gabe? The puzzles in this game are really good.
Yeah, they're pretty fun.
Like, okay, the puzzles in the first game, they were okay. They were all right. Just look in the journal and just, literally it tells you the answer. It's like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's fine. That's, it's there for the game. It's the first in the series, whatever. Second one has a little bit more problem solving. It kind of reminds me of a Zelda dungeon, especially that one puzzle where you have to use yourself as a weight to hold down a lever to allow water to come into like that one golden temple. That straight up reminded me of the Lake Bed Temple from Twilight Princess, like one of my favorite dungeons from that game. So the puzzles in this game are really good.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, the puzzles in Uncharted 2 aren't as difficult, or like, they're not as like difficult as like Zelda puzzles, which still puzzles aren't that difficult too, depending on the game. Yeah. But like, Uncharted are definitely not hard, but they're perfectly serviceable.
Oh yeah.
It's not like you're playing a Silent Hill game where you have to use your own noggin.
So this is gonna be weird because I don't know where to put this game. So I'm just gonna. I really like Uncharted 2, and a part of me wants to put it in masterpiece, but then a part of me, I really like the game, but I have a lot of issues with it. One of the issues, and I know nobody's gonna agree with me on this, I feel like the game is too long. I've played it twice, to where like I feel like when I get to the end of the game, it feels like it drags on, and I can tell you exactly where I feel that. The part after the Guardians, I feel like the game drags on a little bit too long. It's like, I think it's around 25 or 26 chapters. A lot of the sections in the game just they feel weird sometimes. I don't think it's me using the mechanics of the game properly, but like I don't know how to explain it. Like I feel like there's just like a lot of enemies in the sections, and that just makes it like a cluster of things that are just like annoying and unfun at sometimes. But there's a lot of like good stuff about the game. I don't like one part particularly. I don't think I like at all. It's the train section. I'm not a fan of it. Looking at it,
it's a hot take. That's gotta be a hot take.
I think that's one of the worst sections of the game. Also, I think that the first half of the game for me is more enjoyable than the second half of the game. Versus where like I feel like that's where the game mostly shines for me. So I think the story is like really good. Although I prefer other Uncharted game story, I do think like in terms of like being like a cinematic like narrative story like a movie, this is the very best Uncharted game for that. So I'm gonna put it at great, and I don't like the final boss. I think it's the most annoying final boss in Uncharted. I think because it's just like it just feels like Ring Around the Rosie. I didn't find it enjoyable. So I'm gonna put Uncharted 2 in great.
Yeah.
Yeah, good ratings for Uncharted 2. Well deserved. And also introduce Chloe. Like top 3 characters in the entire franchise.
Yeah, she's a really good character. I have
Love
to...
Chloe. It's time, guys. Uncharted 3. Arguably the most divisive in the series. Or at least that's what I know. You know what? I'm gonna let... You know what, Gabe? You should, like, talk about, like, why you love it before... I don't know what Titus's stand on Uncharted 3 is, so, you know what? Let her rip.
Alright, so I'll put it honest to God, in this year, I'm gonna put it at good. Because it's not great. There's some problems with it. But I still really liked it. It was my first Uncharted game, so I do have a bias. I do have an honest to God bias. And I remember buying that game, going through me and my mom were at like I'm not saying the city because I don't want to be real in locations, but like I was at McDonald's just waiting, and I was like, hey, I found it on like Lithuanian Craigslist. Could have been I was like, hey, I'm gonna buy it, and that was my introduction to Uncharted. So this game is a little special because of that. It introduced me to Uncharted, and I had fun. Do I think after playing all the games now, it was as good as I remember it was? No. Some set pieces were overblown, I think, or just straight up some moments were just not good. And the villains were Uncharted 1 tier bad, in my opinion. Though, actually, no, I put them a little bit above Uncharted 1 because at least I remember Talbot's name. And that's because, like, and that's not no familiar relationship, I guess, there. Though Hillary Clinton looking lady, I don't remember her name at all. But like, I mean, it was more interesting. I say the introduction between Sully and Nate, how they met for the first time. I love that section. It's a great fucking section. And the airplane. There's some good, but there's also some bad. It's just a little bit like a bit of a mixed bag there, but I still quite enjoyed it. Though I will say the final boss with Talbot is I mean, it's okay. Better than the first game, I'll give you that, but after going through Lazarevich, I'm like, that's a downgrade. So, what's next?
That's a really good opinion, Gabe. However, to pull a Simon Cowell, I disagree. I think Uncharted 3, you know what, I'm gonna get rid of the okay, because this is probably gonna like be the only like thing in this tier for good reasons.
Mhm.
I'm putting this in the bad tier.
Okay.
Uncharted 3 is a massive downgrade from Uncharted 2 because the thing about Uncharted, especially with its set pieces, is that they make sense in the story. Going through the train in Uncharted 2 made sense. Going through the on-rail shooting segment across the snowy tundra in Uncharted 2 makes sense. Going through the village as this like huge freaking tank is plowing through it, that made sense. Uncharted 3, you're going through a boat. Then you're going through a plane, which admittedly are cool segments of the game, but they're just there to tick a check mark off the list. Basically, oh, we need a huge set piece to throw Nate in to show how cool our series is, right? And it was just more style over substance for me. That's like a lot of like what Uncharted 3 is, because I'm gonna say it, a lot of Uncharted 3 doesn't really look all that hot either. A lot of places in the game just look boring. I'm not talking like graphic wise, I'm talking like just set pieces wise. I mean, the very beginning of the game peaked with, the grimy, town of London, I believe it was, right?
Probably was London. Yeah, it was an English
Like,
town
yeah,
at least.
like the grimy alleyways of London where the beginning of the game started was very promising. Obviously, the section where Nate and Sully meet, that whole section was really well done too. I like how that looked, especially having to go through different people's houses and going through rooftops just to escape the IRS because they didn't pay my taxes. That was all fine too, but I just felt like this game just didn't have a very unique set piece that made it stand out, because honestly, this game is basically just the one where Nathan Drake has a cool ass scarf. That's basically what Uncharted 3 is for me. And that's not to mention the story. I think the storyline in this game is very weak. It doesn't really improve on anything. It doesn't really like derail anything, but I will admit it does have a very like weak fake out death of Sully scene that is completely just not, it's basically just resolved. It's like, hey, I'm still alive. It's like, didn't we do this in Uncharted 1? Didn't we do the whole fake out death in Uncharted 1? Why are we doing it again and still not going for it? Marlowe, the Hillary Clinton woman, and Talbot are terrible villains. They are incredibly boring, and I understand the whole thing is like, oh, they're supposed to be the anti-Drake and Sully that some fans like to say. I do not see that in the slightest. I do not understand where that comes from. I see Gabriel from Uncharted 1 as more of the anti-Sully. Navarro is definitely not the anti-Nate, but he's a lot more anti-Nate than Talbot, I guess. But even then, I can't see either character just being that. And the final boss is just, it's whatever. Because Talbot's a very weak villain. Because Marlowe is killed off, and then he is left to be the main guy. But you could just tell that he's basically just the bodyguard. No. You wanna know what he is? He's Aizawa from Yakuza 5. That's literally what Talbot is. He shows up at the beginning, is just kind of there, and then just shows up because we need a final boss and we need a huge crumbling city to have. So,
I mean, with Aizawa, at least it was a really fun boss fight in my opinion, and has a banging song.
Well, this isn't a Yakuza tier list, but we'll get to that sometime in the future. But
oh yeah.
But yeah, so overall, Uncharted 3 was just a massive downgrade from Uncharted 2. But there are good things to like about it. Like I said, the beginning of the game with Nate and Sully meeting, that was pretty good. The plane sequence is one of the most iconic segments in the game for a reason. It's really fun. It's a very nice set piece. And also, this has the best rendition of the Uncharted theme. Or at least in my opinion, it does.
Oh, yeah.
It's the triumphant trumpets in the as the chorus builds up. And it's so good. It's like that's like one thing I love about the Uncharted games is that the theme improves as the series goes on. It adds more instruments, it adds more tempo to it, and I love it a lot. So there are good things to like about, and also Charlie. I forgot to mention Charlie.
Yeah, we forgot to mention Charlie.
I mean, like, to be fair, the game does too. So Uncharted 3, in my opinion, it's bad. The gameplay segments are not that fun. The big action scene set pieces are only there to be adapted into the Uncharted movie.
We will not
And
mention that movie.
well, yeah, no, I'm just saying that because I fucking hate that movie. Oh yeah. I wish it was on this tier list, but thank God it ain't. If it was, it's going in its own tier, right underneath the haven't played one, and it's gonna be called the Uncharted movie. Anyway,
All right, it's my time, and I feel really bad about this because I might move Uncharted 2 to masterpiece as well. Because Uncharted 2, okay, as much as I say a lot of bad things about Uncharted 2, right? It's not that much of a bad game, right? I just always have thought Uncharted 3 was a better game, right? Now, I'm going to need you to hear me out with this. I agree with you on the story, right? But I always felt that Uncharted 2, until 4 came out, was the black sheep of the story, right? Narrative-wise, it's better, but both of the games, Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 3, deal with the storyline of Francis Drake, right? So I feel like, in terms of like that, that's what Uncharted 3 was trying to more so go for. While it had like a weaker story, it had that to go with, versus Uncharted 2 doesn't have that. So like there's a more greater connection between Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 3, and just Drake as a character in Uncharted 3 than there isn't as Uncharted 2. Even though you could say he has better characterization, which I haven't really thought about which game he has better characterization in. Overall, I'm more of a gameplay guy, so I think that's why I favor Uncharted 3, because like I feel like 2 has a lot of really cool sections, right? But when I go back and like play all the sections of Uncharted 3, they're just way more fun. Like the end game of Uncharted 3 destroys Uncharted 2's end game, because like it just drags out and it feels really long, versus where I feel like I'm having fun during like the middle and the end game. Like the boat section is probably my favorite section of the game. The end, the City of Dreams, that's a really good section of the game. I enjoy that. I think overall there's like a few gameplay changes I prefer as well. One of the problems I have with the game is like the fire demons. That one puzzle that's really hard. I don't think that's more so of a problem, but I think Uncharted 2 probably has better puzzles than Uncharted 3.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of just like going from section to section, I feel like section wise moving to it is a lot stronger than Uncharted 2 in general. And like the villains, here's my thing with the villains. I completely agree with you, Steven, but I think that the story doesn't necessarily focus as much on the villains as Uncharted 2 or Uncharted 1. It's more so about a characterization of Drake. And to be fair, it's done better in 4. I will say that. But on the other hand, I don't think Uncharted 2 really has that much strong villains. Like I feel like Flynn is like the strongest villain in Uncharted 2. I mean, the other guy, he's bald. He's there, but he's Tom G.
True.
But like
Tom G.
Yeah, but Flynn is infinitely better than any villain in Uncharted 3, and so it's the bald guy, freaking Lazar.
So wait, if Lazarevich is Andrew Tate, does that mean Henry is Tristan Tate?
Yes. Yeah.
Christ almighty.
Great.
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It's looking at it from like a gameplay standpoint, I think it is a more fun and more enjoyable game for me. But in the story's standpoint of like just narrative, I think Uncharted 2 is a better game in that, right? But how they try to do the story, I prefer Uncharted 3. And just more Sully in the game. Like Uncharted 2, if I'm remembering correctly, had like Sully in their game for like 5 seconds, it feels like. And Sully was in like most of the game for Uncharted 3, so I feel like that was a welcome change. Because Sully is my favorite character in the story.
Yeah.
So
very good pick, yeah.
Alright, I'm going to move, to be fair, I'm going to move Uncharted 2 to Masterpiece as well. I have more problems with that game, but I'll put it right there.
Well, I'll help you guys aren't afraid of negativity because we're not done yet. We got Golden Abyss now, baby. Woo!
Yeah.
So, okay. Actually, Titus, this is like one you haven't played, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in. I haven't played. I can't really say anything on it. I've played like, it's not that I haven't played it. I haven't finished it. I played like 10 minutes of the game.
That's like
Oh,
nothing, yeah. So you can't really say much about it.
Yeah, I don't think it would be fair.
Mhm.
So okay, so it's just me and Gabe on this one. So
Yep.
I know Gabe is a lot more positive with Golden Abyss than I am, so I'm just gonna get the negativity out the way to get to the positives. So, Golden Abyss, the Vita one. If you guys have been paying attention to my perspective, you would see that I have the Vita one on the bottom of the tier list because that is basically how I feel about Golden Abyss. Golden Abyss is basically trying to make a Vita Uncharted. They had good ideas, but they sorely missed their mark. They aimed the bullet, or they aimed the gun, and they missed the bullet on every single target. They are that bad. The gameplay for Golden Abyss, in my opinion, the gun combat in this game, while to some it may feel like classic Uncharted, and in the beginning it is. It's like, okay, you got your pistols, your machine guns, your shotguns, your grenades. You got all that. That's all fine and dandy. Gun combat, on the other hand, I would argue is worse than one. I would also argue that the set pieces and the level design of Golden Abyss is very, and I mean very, sloppy in terms of how it's designed and how it's presented, and it almost feels incredibly easy at times. This is the easiest Uncharted game. I'm just gonna flat out say that it is the easiest game in the series, but kind of in a way, because remember when I mentioned that Drake's Fortune kind of opens up the book and basically shows you the answer to the puzzle. Golden Abyss is just like, oh wait, I could just do this to the puzzle, and then basically just have the puzzle already solved. You just have to put one Lego block on top of the other one, and boom, there you go. There is one very unique puzzle though. On the other hand, it's the puzzle where you have to shine your Vita, put your Vita next to a light, next to a light source to reveal some invisible ink on a parchment paper, and I think that's a really cool puzzle. I actually love that puzzle. It actually uses the Vita as a handheld because the game basically forces you to just walk around your house with a Vita, just being going to your mom and be like, "Mom, can I use your lamp real quick?" So it has props for that. However, the rest of the combat, when it comes to because Uncharted is both a puzzle game, but it's also mostly a third-person shooter, so the gun combat is bad, but the hand-to-hand combat is even worse. And this definitely goes into the boss fights of the game, especially the final boss, which I would argue is the worst one in the series because it's just boring. It's literally just 3 swipes on your screen, and that's it. It's not engaging. It pauses so that way you could swipe your finger in the direction of the arrow, and then it just plays out of a cutscene. It's like, say what you will about the Telltale games, and they're basically just movies, but at least shit's still moving. I don't know, and also when it comes to the story of this game doesn't really matter. There's one slight reference to the girl that Nate has a love relationship with in this game. There's a slight reference to her in Uncharted 4 in the attic, but that's all we ever hear. We don't really get anything else. And the MacGuffin in this one is pretty weak. Nate, as a character, isn't really that funny. He's not really that interesting. He's just kind of there. The girl is just kind of there. The villain's definitely there. Golden Abyss is just boring. It's definitely worse than all the console games because the console games are actually trying to be great games. The Vita one, it's the Vita one. So yeah, Golden Abyss bad bomb text.
As Steven put it before, that's not I disagree. No, I definitely enjoy Golden Abyss. I would put it below 3, but above 1. It's definitely flawed. Oh boy, no, it's flawed. You could tell Sony Ben Studios, or I should say just Ben Studios, they were probably a little rushed because I believe this was a launch title, if I'm not mistaken, for the Vita.
I believe so.
Yeah, it was a launch title. And you can tell by the gimmicks, because the game loves using the Vita as a gimmick.
Yeah.
The amount of times you have to swipe, or you just go past this one point and, oh hey, here's a piece of ripped off paper, and it's combined into one. All online. That shit's annoying. And even the puzzle that Steven mentioned, how you had to like grab your Vita and shine a light to it, I personally hated that puzzle. Mainly because it didn't fucking work. It was finicky as all hell. And it also known the fact that I was playing at night by that point. It was already night, and the only light I had was this like shitty ass light, but like in this place, because I was outside my house at that time. I was in a different location. I'm not gonna talk about because private. But basically I had a shitty light, so I had to shine with it, and I had to finish the hell out of it. My mom looked at me like a freaking madman when she saw that. That was fun. So like I just hated that puzzle because it just was a pain in the ass. It took me like 10 minutes just to do it because it just did not want to work. So like there's some big problems. But I don't know. I found the gunplay to be a little bit more fun than the first game. I didn't find the game as obnoxious with its enemy spawns, and I found the level design to be just a tiny bit better than the first games. It's not great, but it's better than the first game. That just pissed me off. Like, I was just like, it's okay game compared to Uncharted 1, where I'm like, oh my god, just end it, please. But yeah, I do agree that the story is definitely the weakest of all the games. It's by far the weakest. And in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter because, again, it was a prequel made without being a prequel and, like, having in mind during the development of the first 3 games. So it's just kind of there. But again, I kind of more, but I will agree upon the villains. Easily the worst. Because they are really forgettable. And the boss fight is easily the worst. The final boss between them is easily the worst in the series. Like, I'm not gonna even excuse that. It's just bad. It's just, hey, do a bunch of swipes and don't miss up 3 times in a row. Or sorry, not 3 times, like just 3 times in general, and that's it. You win. Which for me was pretty freaking easy. So it's got problems. Boy, does it got problems. But I still kind of enjoyed it, and I wouldn't mind replaying it again.
Just don't play from other sources. All right. All right. So, well, gentlemen, the era of negativity is over because we got it. Uncharted 4.
Oh, let's go.
Let's have Titus be the first one.
Yeah.
He couldn't talk.
No,
All right.
this man. I know Titus loves Uncharted 4. All right. Spill your wisdom.
All right, I'm gonna move some stuff around again, and frick. All right, this is my list changing again. I'm gonna put Uncharted 4 in masterpiece, and move Uncharted 2 to great. Now, let me just explain. I like Uncharted 2 more than Uncharted 4, right? As a game, right? And that's mainly because I think 4. I enjoy the sections from Uncharted 4 a little bit more, and I enjoy the story more, right? But the gameplay on Uncharted 4, I don't like as much as 2 or 3, personally. But Uncharted 4, I don't remember as much as the others, but the story is really good. I think it's probably, like, realistically, the best story in the series. I like the characters a lot. I can't remember the main villain's name is Rafe. I like Rafe and Nadine a lot. I think they're really good characters. All the sections in the game are really cool, and the game looks amazing. It's insane how good that the game looks. I'm trying to remember because it's been a while since I played Uncharted 4. The one thing I wasn't a big fan of was the twist of Uncharted 4. Now, I know most people are going to like disagree with that, but I'm like, when the twist came, it's like Uncharted 2 has like the best stakes in the series, right? And Uncharted 3 has some pretty decent stakes, it feels like, right? Even though the villains are kind of meh. I feel like the stakes going away at the end of the game kind of just like, that's like kind of eh. But it was still a good ending, and it's just my second favorite final boss, the sword fight at the end of the game. But it just, how can I say this? This is a good and the bad part of Uncharted 4's story. It feels like it's a most grounded Uncharted story in like terms of like how it ends and how it goes, but at the same time I feel like that's a weakness of the game, where it just, I don't know. It's not as grand as the other Uncharted games, like in terms of like what you're fighting for. But I think that makes it really unique, and that's what makes the story like really good, because like it's kind of the anti-Uncharted 2, if that makes sense, but in a good way.
Mm.
So I don't know, I really like it, and I feel like it may become my second favorite Uncharted game if I replay it more, but I've only played it once versus Uncharted 2 and 3. I've played Uncharted 2 4 times, and I've played like Uncharted 3 like 3 times, so I think it will grow on me, but I'll put it in Masterpiece, but in with my personal bias, Uncharted 2 is still a better game.
All right, go ahead, Gabe. You can go next.
Alright, I'll go. Yeah, Uncharted 4 is, honestly speaking, I mean, Sounds Rising. It's a masterpiece, but I would put it below Uncharted 2. I like Uncharted 2 just a slightly bit more than 4. But I still think 4 is a bloody fantastic game. Having some fantastic shootouts with its gameplay. Genuinely really interesting story. Sam especially being a very interesting character, where he does feel like, hey, here's a brother of Nate. Oh, it is like that, but also the way he was written and his character and how they bounce off each other with him and Nate is just bloody fantastic. You can tell they're brothers. That's how well they bounce off each other. It's generally interesting. The villains were definitely some of the best in the series. Rafe especially. I really like Rafe. Nadine was okay, but Rafe was generally a really enjoyable bastard. It's just genuinely a good story with the gameplay too. And yeah, I'm a little surprised how good the story was, because it was written by a certain Druckmann.
That's before we got washed up.
True. I'm gonna shit on the man. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna shit down on that forever. You can probably guess why, but beside the point, it's not the right series. But yeah, I just really enjoy it. The set pieces, the treasure itself, Avery's treasure, is a genuine one. It is a lot more like grounded compared to any other Uncharted game. This is easily the most grounded in reality. There's no descendants. There's no guardians. It's none of this crap.
There's just no drugs that Nathan Drake conveniently got drugged with.
Yeah. It's just long lost treasure of pirates. It's simple, but it works. It's just like it works. It's just good. Honestly, God, it's a great finale too for Nate's character. Where I'm like, I don't want to see Nate again because of how well that his story ended. It ended perfectly. Man's just in retirement. And I also will say visually, wow. Like, it's gorgeous. It is definitely one of the best looking PS4 games ever made. I'll give Naughty Dog this. They know how to make visuals. they know how to freaking crank the hell out of the console.
Yeah.
Like, there are times it still looks like a PS5 game, which is impressive. Like, it is an incredibly technical marvel. It's a great game. Generally, I'll give them all the best praise. This is definitely one of the best games that they've ever made. So, and also the multiplayer. I've only played the multiplayer of the third and fourth games. The third one a little bit, but the fourth one, it's fun. I'm not a multiplayer guy, but damn, that multiplayer is just fun. It's just good. Though, look, Systems, fuck you with the microtransactions. You're annoying.
I
But
haven't
that goes for a
played
lot.
much of the fourth multiplayer, but I used to play a lot of 2 and 3's multiplayer.
Yeah,
So I have
but
to try.
sadly, 2 and 3's multiplayer is now gone. They've been shut
Yeah.
down. Only 4 is alive for God knows how long.
All right. Well, Uncharted 4. Like, this was technically my gateway into the series. Technically, I played the series from the first game thanks to the Nathan Drake collection, but I bought the. But I found out about the Uncharted series because of Uncharted 4. So with that, I I love this game. If I were to put it on the tier list, it would definitely. I'm debating either great because every game has its own tier list. So this is basically showing like my top. I'll just put it in great to show it. This is basically my top. Well, top 6 really because we still haven't did Lost Legacy.
Hmm.
This is basically top 5. However, I can't put it in great. I have to put it in masterpiece because the stakes in the story, like granted, are not super huge. It's a story about family. This is the most personal story for Nathan Drake,
Hmm.
like easily the most. Like this is like the most personal one. It deals with his brother, which normally the whole secret brother plot point is sometimes used very badly, but thankfully here it's used amazingly, like really, really well. And not just that, because of Sam's introduction into the series, we got some of the best, like, set pieces of the series, in my opinion. I think that the heist in the mansion that is like easily like a top 3 Uncharted segment. Like, not just because like, oh haha, bootleg Ren likes the Persona 5 heist shit. No, not because of that. It's genuinely because it's just a really cool segment. You're going to an auction house or a mansion that's being used as an auction house.
Yeah,
I
basically.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know, you rich people. You rich people doing what you do. That's where you get to meet Sully. That's where you first throw hands with Nadine. That's where you also get to see Rafe, but also has like that little tension because, of course, Sam knowing Rafe, basically Rafe being the reason why Sam uh, is out of prison, and it wasn't because of that complete non-existent dude.
I mean, he
I actually like
existed.
the twist.
Yeah, no, like he existed. He was just
Yeah, but
dead.
he wasn't the reason. Yeah, but he wasn't the reason why. In the context of the prison break, he's not like the entire reason why Sam is like doing this whole treasure thing.
Hmm.
So he is. So yeah, like it. Rafe's entire existence like is also like really good. But going back to the gameplay and the set pieces, so the mansion is like top 3 Uncharted segments. But not only that, it brings back the mountain landscape that Uncharted 2 had that I really loved. Brings back the snowy mountain shit, kind of. Um, Pirate ships, like you're fighting around like explosive pirate ships, and of course, like again, like another one of my favorite set pieces, one of my favorite gameplay segments is the motorcycle chase slash van chase, where you're escaping from a shit ton of gunfire and you're swinging from you're swinging like Spider-Man with your grappling hook trying to
Oh yeah.
escape like with grenades and like random gunfire. It's like, see, Uncharted 4 is the most grounded in the series. But but
There's
it's still an action game. It's
there's
Yeah.
still
still
an action movie.
yeah, it's still like an
Yeah.
action like V flick. Yeah.
Like, God, the gameplay segments in this are really good. The combat in this game, I want to talk about the combat first for a quick second because the combat in this game is really good because I like the fact that like it has like every game in the series has had like the duo partner mechanic where your partner just kind of like goes wherever the hell they go. I feel like it's the best in this game. I feel like Sam's AI was really good. Not the best AI we've ever seen for an AI partner, but definitely better than The Last of Us. Hey, um, like I felt like Sam was really well done as an AI partner. I felt like the gameplay was really good. Like the battleground layouts was nice. Kept me on my feet. The game is actually pretty challenging in some areas, especially like like I said, like the whole like warehouse looking area where you're like on a motorcycle and you do the Akira slide and all that. Really cool stuff.
Mhm.
And of course the final battle being between Rafe. That's like the strangest final battle because every other game you've just been either like throwing hands or shooting people in the head with your gun. But it's like no, this time you're literally like fighting with swords.
Like having
And
like a
it's
new
cool.
like new combat mechanics.
Oh yeah, like and they just throw you into like brand new combat stuff at the very end of the game. It's like you can't do that, but then they did anyway, and it was really
Definitely
and
interesting.
it was and honestly Uncharted 4 is just a marvel of a game, not just in terms of like how it looks, because this is like one of the best looking PS4 games alongside the games like Batman Arkham Knight, and I believe was last. Hey, you guys, fact check me here. Like, Last of Us 2 was on PS4, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, and Last of Us 2 and Arkham Knight and this game, I would say are like the top 3 best looking like PS4 games. Like, Naughty Dog really pulls it out the park and it really pushes the console to its limits and just has like some of the most beautiful scenery. In fact, fun fact, I actually took a screenshot of this game once and I used it as a wallpaper on my laptop for years, but that was an old laptop. I don't have that picture anymore. So,
Oof.
actually, I mean, I might try to find it on my PS4, but I have no idea. But Uncharted 4, it's a very special game for me. Not as special as Uncharted 2, but Uncharted 4 was just very personal, and it really brought me back to like, you know, how it's basically just a whole me and a buddy just going on an adventure. Especially when they released like the live action video of like I believe it's like Nolan North and Troy Baker. I believe Troy Baker voices Sam. Like Nolan North and Troy Baker like acting out as Nate and Sam, looking at the places that the Panama, I believe it was Panama, like a prison was based off of, and they were just like, okay, so we're just gonna go over here. Like I don't know, I might be playing in the background, but really good stuff. Uncharted 4 just has like amazing set pieces, amazing mechanics with the grab and the gun combat, and Uncharted 4, a really heartwarming story that actually made me cry. I mean, I'm glad I didn't kill off Nate. I'm glad I didn't do that because that would have been weak.
Yeah.
That would have been weak sauce.
Honest to God.
Oh yeah, and Crash Bandicoot was amazing.
Oh yeah, Crash Bandicoot. I forgot.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. This game introduced a bunch of youngins to Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, how can we forget?
Yeah, a minigame. I was like, that's a cool one. Honest to God, that's so cool. I've been doing that. And now we're at our final game.
Haven't played. It's over.
Yeah, it's over for Turtle.
Wait, you can add additional images to the tier list? We should add the Uncharted movie.
No.
Oh no.
I mean, why point? We would all put it at the bottom of the bottom.
I think the Uncharted movie is good.
I'm
gonna be honest. I put it in good.
No, like I was gonna make its own tier. I'm gonna put it below the Vita one and just have it be the movie.
Yeah, no, screw it. I'll make a tier 2. Just edit it in the video. Here it is. You know what to do.
Gabe, yeah, like you know what? I'm gonna let you do the honors for Lost Legacy.
All right. Lost Legacy. The final one I've played as of right now, and obviously from the final one, and God knows forever, maybe. But yeah, Lost Legacy, which was supposed to be a DLC for 4, turned into its own separate game, a la Halo 3 ODST or Spider-Man Miles Morales. And you can tell this is a more of a smaller adventure. And I think, but honestly speaking, it's great. I'd put it in great. It's definitely really fun. Does it feel like a small game? It does. I mean, for Christ's sakes, lengthwise, it took me only 6 hours to finish, compared to 4, which took me about 12 hours to finish. It's like straight up half. But like, honest to God, it has the great gameplay of 4, I think. Chloe's fantastic. Nadine, well, I still think she's kind of a character. She was sometimes pretty enjoyable with some of the banter between her and Chloe. I do honestly wish it was Charlie. I would have loved to have seen him back with Chloe, but it is what it is. The villain, I had to Google his name up because I forgot, honest to God. It was Asov. There you go. Asov was he was okay. Definitely better than Uncharted 1, Golden Abyss, or 3's villains, I'd say. Because I feel like he did do some shit. But he was still kind of a character. Fun boss fight though. Oh god. It's actually a pretty fun little boss fight. It's like a little 2-on-1, like beat 'em up action. But like overall, I thought it was alright. It's a small little adventure that they made, and it's a good one. And it's just nice to see Chloe back again because we didn't see her at all before. So yeah, I don't know. It was a genuinely enjoyable one. Could have been even more, yeah. But for what it was, especially since I think it was like what $40 when it came out in America. So like it was also like way small price too. It was a fun enough game. Could have been more, yes. But for what it is, it's genuinely really great. That was really fun. And also, for once, because this is what I noticed, the fucking silenced, suppressed pistol in 3, worthless. This one actually, the suppressed pistol fucking works. Something I noticed, I was like, oh, thank God it works. Because that's useful for stealth. Just a little thing I noticed is when I was younger. But yeah, genuinely, it's a great game.
Honestly, because of its length, I can't put it anywhere higher than good. Because Lost Legacy for me, it is good in the gameplay department, and it's always nice to see Chloe again, but it is an extension off of Uncharted 4, and you can definitely tell. And $40 isn't a bad price. It wasn't a bad price, especially at the time. It's a way a lot better than how games are being charged now, obviously.
Especially if you're European.
I felt like Lost Legacy is just, I don't know. It's good. I thought the villain was good. The story was decent. Chloe was always great. Nadine is all right. I'm with Gabe on that one. I thought she was pretty all right. I mean, I like Nadine, but that's all she is. She's cool.
Right.
She's cool. She's a cool military woman. We love military women in the chat. I actually have a soft spot for the villain because I love the collector villains. That's basically what this guy was. He was basically another collector kind of villain.
I mean, kind of collector. He's collecting it to boost morale for his army, basically.
Yeah, collector.
Yeah,
he's a collector villain. So yeah, I dig his design. I do dig the suit design. So I believe that Lost Legacy it's definitely a good game. However, with how short it is, with how limiting it is, and I will say this: I am never a fan of walking scenes or driving scenes. I actually did not like the driving scenes in Uncharted 4 because while it did give you a bunch of character moments and funny moments, like the driving me nuts joke, that was funny, admittedly. It's the classic walking simulator in the video games complaint where it's I'm personally not a huge fan of those segments, and Lost Legacy does continue 4's excessive use of them, unfortunately. So I have to dock points off for that. But Lost Legacy, I actually might prefer it over the first game if the first game, wasn't longer. So because of the length, especially the length, even with its pretty good set pieces, its good level design, its good gameplay, because it is still Uncharted 4, which is amazing in gameplay. For the length and for the money it's worth, I just feel like Lost Legacy is definitely going in the good tier. Also, why the fuck was Sam there? Also, that's our tier lists. All 3 tier lists will be on the screen, either on the same screen or one going off, one after the other. That's our tier list. We're not rating the movie. Gabe already did that. You already know where it is. Do not ask about the movie. And yeah, that's all I got. That's all we got. So yeah, all right, guys. Any last words? Any last Subway ads that we want to do?
Don't eat Subway, even though we were supposed to advertise for them.
Next Uncharted movie don't have Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah, definitely. That and Tom Holland. I like you, Tom, but you are not as good as Nate.
No, he's not the problem. It's Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I should be Nathan Drake.